Okay, so this next film review is going to be about Pierce. I'm going to start with just two plays defensively that I think Pierce can play a little bit better, just nitpicking on some things. Then I'm going to talk about some of Pierce's movements to get open. And lastly, I'm going to talk about his strengths on attacking and getting open under on the force side and how that might play into our future offensive system. So let's start first with the two defensive plays that I noticed. So here we have a deep throw, and if I'm going to rewind, we're going to watch Pierce, who's right here, and what he's going to do is he's going to sense that he's going to see out of the corner of his eye that Royce is getting beat deep, and we're going to watch him. He sees it, and then he looks at his man, which is good. And I think the hesitancy here is what I would want. I would want less of. I wouldn't want him just to completely take this, communicate to Royce to find his person, which I believe is this guy. I think it's this person. But instead, you're just a little bit slow on the trigger pull, and then what's ended up happening is now this guy is free to slash across if he wants, and then this guy's open as well. So we don't gain anything from being in the middle ground. So once again, yes, he is could cut to the break side, which is the weak space technically, but he could also just come back down, this number 6 player. And so it would be better if you point to your guy and lock eyes with Royce and then peel off here. And I know you have the speed too. It just looks like you are a little bit hesitant on it. So good eye on seeing that and communicate the switch earlier. This next scenario here is one where Pierce is going to be on the third handler. And I think this is where the host stack is kind of, if this third handler doesn't clear, they are a pain for the host stack offense. So for example, we get the disc watching. Andrew, I know you play soccer, go kick that disc. It starts here on this flat sideline. I would like, if we know that this sideline is out, Pierce, I would like you to take a couple more steps towards this way to kind of almost bracket this player. We know that throws that go over the top to your man will be difficult because they have to be within this line, and they're just hard throws. And if they do end up getting them, it's going to take a lot of time, and our defense is going to adjust. So it's harder to guard him closer here. So I would suggest take a buffer. Be aware that he could strike upline this way and go around, but I want you to use a buffer. Instead, you go close and you turn your back. And if he were to take this all the way, that's difficult. And so your room for error when you're closer there is much higher. So I have an example of how Team USA they play where they're on the flat side and they have this person. This is kind of more of the buffer I want. This guy could go this way, sure, but he'll catch up, and he has room for any mistakes. Where he has room to peek, as well as a throw over the top. He can kind of help. This area right here is one where we're happy for them to throw to. One, because it's really difficult to throw to, and two, if they end up getting it, it's going to take so long that our defense is going to recover. All right. Moving on to what I like to call, or I don't want to make a meme or like a thing of it, but it's like a Pierce shuffle where he will take two strong, convincing steps into his defender to move him back and then start his cut with conviction. So if we see Pierce right here, He'll go 2, get outside the frame, and then you'll see how he has open space after that. The difficulty with this is that if you don't get outside of their frame, so if you don't go past and threaten and turn their hips, you are instead losing all your distance and then making it a fair fight. So they have to bite on it in a sense. So in this clip right here, you go, but he doesn't have to turn his hips. He's not respecting it as much. And then now you guys just start as an even fight with this much space in between you. And I do know that you're open in a sense that you get a step, but he is so close that I don't feel like anyone should throw this throw. Yeah, it's just really difficult. If he's able to touch your back, that's a hard throw for any of the handlers. Now, if we see it right here, and instead of doing a skip, you just wait and then go, then it would be more powerful. We're just holding your space here. He has to come towards you, and then your skip is even stronger. But instead, you take away that distance and gain nothing from it. So it's a strong move. It's just got to be used correctly. Here's a scenario where the disc is here, and I like how you skip early in a sense. So you can see this distance here. I don't know why this guy's this far away from you, and you can just kind of just go under. And you do that. So you're here. Nice. You got space, and he's just trailing behind you. He doesn't even have a play on it. Nice and easy. So that's an example of taking the space and using the skip conservatively, so you can keep the space between each other. The other example is if you're more aggressive, get behind him, get him to freak out, turn his hips, then skip through. That will work well. And I have an example of that right here. So we'll watch this guy skip outside of the frame when he does his move. So you have to skip outside to give them the threat. Okay. These next 5 clips are going to be of Pierce getting the disc on an under and kind of talking about why that's so, well, obviously that's good, but also how our new offense will kind of fit into that and leverage us getting these unders. So throughout this entire tournament, Pierce had pretty consistent unders. And here he is again. I don't know who's on him, but he's just able to see the space. He's able to, I like that he's able to see how the mark is, I think it's a flick force, but it's just a poor mark. It's not ready. We know James can throw to this box here at ease. This is classic, like day one, strong side attack. Pierce sees it. So once again, I like that Pierce sees the mark, is able to find the strong side from that, and cut with conviction there. There's no question where he's going, and then James makes a nice throw. So with, I just want to take a moment here to kind of focus on integrating, installing post slash. If Pierce catches it here, we want a clear from Andrew, either probably deep, and then we want Owen to go deep as well, and then Baden will be the slash. These handles here will slow up a bit and give Pierce time to go through that progression. Our offense here, we kind of just rush through it, but that's kind of what I told y'all in the fall. So no worries there. All right, once again, Pierce is here, Royce has the disc, and we're going to do, we can see the mark is flat-ish, but maybe a little bit to the flick side. So Pierce is going to cut that way. Then we see a lazy poach here, and I really like how you guys are already running Fury. We're going to see Jake run over, and then I believe PJ is going to wheel or get out of that space. Or he doesn't. But he would have Fury'd there. But we can see how attacking that force space, it's not there. And then he just continues to look for that open space. We're going to be more prescriptive in the spring, but these instincts, regardless, like looking at that open space and going to it is really good. Now that Pierce gets the disc, I like Baden's instinct to go early to clear out that space. And then from there, we can think about our system. Cutter with the disc up. Baden's running his post. Owen's running his slash. But instead, we kind of go into our old system where it's just kind of hoe flow, which is not as prescriptive. Third time, this one's just going to be quick. We see James with the mark. We see Pierce, and we can already see that the open space is here. So he's just going to go straight there. Even though James doesn't throw it there, Pierce is able to move his guy out. And now Jaden has the disc on the flat side, and we want to hit Hugh. So here I would want Jaden to hold the disc further and really threaten this around throw or even this butterfly, this post cut from Hugh. Once again, Pierce getting open under on the force side, money, and then from here, we can see how we would run our offense. I like Baden thinking about doing post already, and then we need to clear from here as well. It just kind of gets messy with the resets. Okay, so Pierce attacking the force side is good. We're going to talk about now how that will do it against a poach. So here we have this person here who is poaching the force side lane right here. He was originally on Owen, and then he picks up Owen for a bit, and then as Owen walks away from his zone, he stays in. And then here comes the focus of today's video, Pierce, coming in. He gets his attention, moves him, but then we run our wheel, and then we can see how we eventually run like a slow Fury. We see Jaden get the disc. James clears, and then now Pierce is open for the hit. Cool. And then once we go there, we have our post slash that we can do. And then we reset the disc again. Pierce does a good job at cutting to open space. We could post slash here, but we dish. And I really want to emphasize like this popper or this wing cut right here, where Pierce is technically in the wing position. Act like he clears, he can come back. And then from there, after he gets the disc, we would want it to continue this way with maybe a Trevor Fury, and then we're looking to move the disc forward there. So Owen can come down, or even Andrew can come down. Even here, I don't like that as much because we crossed the midline and then we wanted to go to Owen here. So as we're watching this film, it's the easiest rule of thumb is like if we're going towards the center of the field and we hit the center of the field, we want it to come from wings or people from further down. That way they have the most space to attack. They have the most advantage. We want these players to kind of hang out and wait, and we want to overload this guy by having to guard this super long cut. Okay, and that is the Pierce quick film review. I would say is that I really like his defensive intensity on handlers and his instincts to help and switch. Going forward, I would like him to communicate proactively on those switches, like just call out, hey, switch this early and often, and continue to develop that move set of shifting outside of that player's frames to get them to bite, or recognizing when you have a buffer and just taking the winning battle. And lastly, as we continue to push up this offense, continue attacking those open side spaces and opportunities as you see with that conviction.